Yet another cozy episode from our favorite Spirit Charmers. Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Game Chronicles continues as the Spirit Charmers anime episode 2 goes up, this one titled Hida the Fire Charmer. Continuing on from last episode, as the four of them are continuing through this little dungeon with a bunch of trials, they're all excited as ever to get to the very end and unlock the secrets of the Grand Spiritual Art, but again with this episode focusing a bit more on Hida, we get to see how excited she is, running headlong into everything, specifically interested in the power that the Grand Spiritual Art will bring. So yeah, just even more fun little moments between them all, getting to see their different personalities, though they get to the next room and find a giant statue in there, and I was actually really surprised to see that it was the Angel Statue Azarune card, just brought to life here. I didn't know that that really had a connection to the Spirit Charmers, and I don't think it was originally intended to, but a really fun idea to bring it in here because it is a very iconic trap monster as of late. Reading the book, their next trial is to destroy the statue, so Asa takes a crack at it first, and we get to see a little more of their element-based abilities. She generates some stones and fires them towards the statue, though it isn't able to destroy it. Then Hida takes over and blasts it with a bunch of fire. Again, they're using their familiars to help them, but now we really do see how Hida just puts like 110% power into literally everything. Though that doesn't really help them when they get to the next room and are met with a scale, that then tells them they need to balance the elements. So everybody takes turns generating a little ball of elemental energy to put it in the scales, and then when it comes time for Hida to place her fire, she's having a lot of trouble. At first I thought she just couldn't aim, but it turns out also she's putting way too much force into it, and needs some advice from the others in order to generate a smaller ball, or even one just the right size. So I think that's a really fun idea to kind of establish Hida's character as someone who's very, hot-headed, and yes, while she is powerful, one thing she lacks is control. So in that same sense, we're also kind of seeing just how much is needed in the trials here, how it can all be completed by just one person's way of thinking, and how it really does need all four of them to work together and learn together. So she's able to do it and they complete this trial, though for the next one they're presented with a giant ball that they need to move, and even both Asa and Hida aren't able to move it with all their power, and especially even after a little montage, which, it was all slideshows, and even though the drawings do look nice, might have been nicer to see a lot of that even animated, but the point is, it was really meant to show the passage of time, and how they spent all day trying to move this ball but weren't able to do so. So they decide to head home for the night, and that one's also pretty interesting because I didn't know that they could just leave anytime they wanted, but I guess, they're unlocking different doors, so they can just come back to the very last one that they unlocked, and really they weren't trapped or anything. Though very interesting too, we're starting to see a lot of build up toward potentially next episode, which I believe is going to be focusing on Win, as earlier she pointed out the markings on the ball, which everyone kind of ignored, and then as they're leaving she's seen picking up something. So we head back to their cabin and they have a nice meal and enjoy themselves, and it was also really nice here, getting to see some of the images from the various token cards of the Charmers from the other structure deck, now brought to life in animation. And here I thought we were going to get a bit more as, they go back home, they rest, and then they head back to the temple and complete the final challenge before ending off for the next episode, but the episode does actually end here in the cabin, and specifically we do get a little more focus on Win, and then here it kind of became even clearer of what they were doing and setting things up for the future. But poor Win, she's just super eepy, she's nodding off, and apparently even has a turtle with her. We'll see exactly how that turtle plays into things, if at all, or just maybe another aspect of her character that's being set up and is going to be completed in the next episode. But for the moment, I still think this is a fun one. It was definitely complete, and with the ending the way it is, kind of gives us a little more of the slice of life and the comedy style that I think just works really well for the Spirit Charmers. And overall, so far, I am really enjoying this set of episodes just because it is all completely original, something I mentioned before in the last video, but the fact that we don't have to go through specific portions that we know need to be adapted, there isn't a lot of room for them to go through things too quickly or, adapt things poorly. Instead, it all being original rather than adapting lore that existed before, it just really works out. So overall, really fun, and again, I do like the focus on Hida as we continue establishing her personality, her goals, her strengths, and where she can improve. So I'm really interested to see that in the next 2 episodes. But let me know what you think in the comments below. How are you enjoying the Spirit Charmers anime so far? And of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Game Chronicles in general. And what do you want to see moving forward? Anyway, this is Gatorex, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.